perfect square trinomials. So first, you might see, let's say this first example, what's special about that? And let's just factor it like we would a regular simple trinomial. So let's find two numbers that multiply to 36 and add to negative 12. Okay, you think to yourself, you're going through that, and you'll eventually find out that those two numbers are negative 6 and negative 6. So the same number twice. And so if we write this out, factored, it's going to be x minus 6 times x minus 6. Or, more simply, you could just write it as x minus 6 squared, because it's the same term, or the same factor in each brackets. All right, so what's really going on here? How can we create a shortcut? Well, the key here is that if we take a look at what we originally had, the 36 is just 6 squared. So again, it's like a perfect square, where it's a number that you can get by squaring another number. All right, and what you'll also have seen is that the number in the middle, the 12, well, the 12 is just equal to double that 6 that we had. Okay, and those two parts are going to be the keys. So let's see if we have a little bit more of a complicated one, how that works. So for this more complicated one, we can see right away that 25y squared is again a perfect square. So you could theoretically take the square root of that and you would get 5y. Okay. This time though, we have also something a little different going on with the term at the front. Before we had just x squared. Now we have a number with it, so we can check, is that a perfect square? Well, the square root of that is just 3x, since 3 squared is equal to 9. Okay. And last time I'd said 2 times 6 is the middle term. Well, now what we can do is we can do 2 times both the first and the last square roots, let's call them. So 2 times 3x times 5y. So I'm using both the 3x and both the 5y, because those are, in a sense, the perfect squares on either end of the trinomial. And if you multiply this out, 2 times 3 times 5 is just 30 xy. And look at that. What we have is something, the 30xy matches the 30xy in the middle of our trinomial. And so this means that we have a perfect square trinomial. So that's kind of the thing to check, whether you have a perfect square trinomial. And now that you know that you have a perfect square trinomial, what that means is to factor it. You can factor this by simply taking those square roots that we've already found. So 3x and 5y. And then add or subtract them. How do we know which one to do? We'll just take a look at the sign that's with the middle term. So in this case, the sign is a plus. So that's going to mean we have a plus here. And then, since it's a perfect square trinomial, what that means is this set of brackets is just squared, because you'd have the same thing multiplying by itself, just like we had in the first example with x minus 6 times x minus 6. So we can go straight to the final factored form like that.